No joke. Hello, beautiful. Hello, beautiful. Um, Welcome to day 2. So this is day 2 of my 21 day of anxiety and depression and trying to understand and trying to build like a balance with how to deal with or live with your anxiety that you live with. So yesterday was day 1. We didn't really go into deep into anything because it was basically just an intro. So anyway, I'm just going to see if I can tag everyone here. I'm not quite sure if I can do that. There we go. I'm live. Let's see. Doing 2 things at once, not my best thing. So, we're here. Awesome. If you're on now, please do a little wave or do a little emoji. If it's a replay you're watching or you're watching it, well, if it's a replay, then do #replay. And yeah, and if there is a later video that you're watching this on, then welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Anyway, so we're actually starting from the bottom, and I mean the bottom. So there are you out there who lives with anxiety, but the thing is that you're not getting the help that you should be getting, or the help that is aligned with you, because with anxiety there's always, there's so much ifs and buts and ups and downs, and not a lot of people actually think about that. Anxiety isn't just one thing. It's like a massive concept of things. With me, it's a bit of a heavy video today. Anyway, so let's go to the bottom, and then we'll do what is anxiety. What is anxiety? So I kind of want you as well to actually type in underneath in what in your aspect or how you associate with anxiety. That would be pretty cool, actually, just to feel like what, who, when, where, why. So because the general aspects of anxiety are, I'm just gonna put, felt like I was looking down, and I didn't like that. I'm looking down a little bit too. I'm actually standing up because I can't sit. But anyway, so okay, what is anxiety? So anxiety is, the generalized situation is, you feel the fear or feeling of fear, as in like basically everything scares you, like you can't do much, you can I'm trying to find different really good analogies for it, but basically fear itself, fear for uh, getting out of bed in the morning because you're scared that you're gonna trip down the stairs, or fear of going out of the house because you're scared that, you know, something's gonna happen to you when you're outside. Just putting on, like, making dinner, the fear, right? Anxiety, fear of making dinner because you're scared that something's gonna start burning. Actually, that one with the stove and making dinner, that one I had in such a long time. That fear got stuck deep in me. So right now I'm making dinner and I'm doing really good. But anyway, so you feel the dread, you know, you like worst case scenario of everything, you know. If I if I go if I'm gonna go on the bus is gonna be late, or the bus is going to I'm going to be in an accident, you know, or just a general one that is number one with anxiety is the confrontation part. So it's the dread of, okay, I have to go and talk with my boss to ask for, I don't know, ask for a raise, or ask for something. And then your head immediately goes like, no, I can't do that. Or something you don't like, something that's really stressing you out as a person, and you need to go and talk to someone in the workplace about it, and you're just like, well, what if I get fired? I mean, that's the worst one. Even I've had that thought balance a while, so I understand it. But it's just like the thought in itself is very overwhelming, and the dread is so consuming that it takes over. So it's like, oh. So, and you have the uneasiness, like me standing here now. Anxiety 101. No, I'm joking. So uneasiness is that you can't sit still. You always have to do something. You always have to play with something. So you always have to be like in the always on the go, because you're so scared that if you stop and just reflect and all that, you know, your anxiety is gonna tenfold, because your brain starts thinking, but you're always walking around with that fight or flight feeling in yourself. You always end up with the fight or flight feeling. You're always, but in this case with anxiety, you're always in fight. You barely ever in flight, but you're always in fight, because you're always in fight mode. You're always going to make sure that you are feeling as though you always have to be prepared for something. Worst case scenario, always be prepared that something isn't going to go the way you want it to, you know, that sort of, and the uneasiness, you know, you're constantly walking around with your common anxiety feelings, right? So there are, and this is the one that I struggle with for a while, we're going to talk about two, not one, not four, three, not four, but two types of anxiety disorder that are the most, I would like to say the most common one, the one that in all the, what can you say, like all the trials and all the thingies, I can't speak. It's number one, it's the generalized anxiety. Generalized anxiety, which is basically, feeling anxious a lot over time, feeling anxious over everyday thing, as in you are anxious from the day that your alarm goes off till you're in bed and going to try to go to sleep, but you can't because you're, so full of anxiety, so you can't sleep. And then you lay there, but anyway, it's just a generalized, as in like the most mundane situation where anxiety goes up, as in just from getting out of bed. It's like, what's gonna happen today? What bad is gonna happen today? What am I gonna experience today? What is going to happen negatively on me or for me or to me today? And you walk around and you feel like that all the freaking time. That's general anxiety. So, but the thing is that with general anxiety is that you feel anxious over time, right? So it's not like just a period. It's just, well, it is a period, but it's a long period. So there's like a couple of months, couple of years, couple of weeks where you're just constantly walking around with anxiety and it's just not wanting to let go. So that's number uno. Number two, it's panic disorder. Okay, so when I say panic disorder, I mean when you have an attack or a panic attack, if you've ever felt the panic attack ever, you feel like you're going to vomit, you feel like you're going to faint, you get sweaty, you get really hard to breathe, you're breathing really, really profusely. But it's quite common for people to have a panic disorder, right? So it's frequent. So when it's frequent, like it comes out of nothing. So you can just sit on the couch watching a movie and all of a sudden you're like sitting there going, oh my god, what on earth am I gonna do? What's happening to me? Right? And you're just like feeling that, and then you start crying, and then it's like constant. You get it all the time, right? So frequent is just like, it's basically roll around, constant, all the time, never ending story of panic attacks, which I've actually been through, and I can say with hand on my heart that it was some of the worst time. So I feel for whoever's going through this, but I found my tools and I found what works for me, but we'll get through this. The other one is unexpected panic attacks. That's the one, like I just mentioned earlier, that's the one. Well, so basically, okay, let's rewind. Frequent panic attacks, you can have a feeling that it comes up, something starts happening with your body, so you kind of have a little bit of a, something's happening. What's happening? What's going on? Okay. But with unexpected panic attacks, that's when you're like, all of a sudden, again, you can be on the couch watching a movie, you can be on the bus, you can be on the family dinner, just like, it's so random, and it just all of a sudden you just hit with this big ball, and you're like, okay, what on earth just happened? What? And you start sweating, you start crying, you start You start crying, you start, sweating, crying, breathing bad, not knowing what on earth is happening all over your body. You can have faint spells. It can get quite excessive and quite aggressive when it actually comes. It all depends on the person, because we all deal with it differently, and we all have different techniques that we learn over the years that kind of works for us, or that doesn't work for us, or so it's so individual. And this is what I feel and think and just burn for, that needs to get out there so profuse, so much, is that it is that everybody's different. Everybody's doing something different. Everybody's they're so individual. So whatever works for me with anxiety, or whatever works for, give it a name, Sarah, or whatever works for Brody, just names. I don't know anybody with that name, but just like, it can work different for all of us. And anxiety also is different. How we cope, how we feel, how anxiety actually gets to us. It's so individual, and it's so important to get that out there. How important it is to know that, yes, we can feel like we're in some sort of understanding, but how much can we actually understand how the person's feeling inside when we're so individual, right? So, and just to point that out there, I kind of want to go down a little bit with a few reasons, probably not reasons, but few triggers, definitely few triggers that can actually really associate with anxiety, that you probably, some of these you would have heard, and some of these you were just like thinking, you might think, makes freaking sense. That makes sense. Huh, right? But some of them, you might know all of them, you never know. So I've just, like, the ones that comes up in the top of my mind of anxiety, it's, yeah. Anyway, so the most common triggers are, 1, conflict. So I would say that's one of the higher uppers, right? So if you are a person who has a lot of anxiety in you, like a lot of anxiety in you, or if you have been through something in life over and over and over again, that will actually make you just not want to deal with conflict. I mean, the thing is that when you have anxiety, conflict isn't the biggest thing that you actually think. So conflict can be, again, just by saying to a friend that you're too tired to hang out today, and the conflict of it is that your friend will understand, but the conflict, the trigger side of it is that you think that, oh my god, if I say no, and if I say that I don't want to hang out, that I'm too tired, that I have too much going on, my friend is gonna hate me. which is not true. And then you think that your friend is going to be like, yeah, why don't you want to hang out? What is it that blah, 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 right? But which is not the situation. But the thing is that you start thinking like all this is just going to be worse and worse and worse. And the one that I mentioned earlier was at work, if you're going to talk to your boss, right? And then you're scared that you're going to end up getting fired because you ask a question that is probably not so horrible in the first place. But in your head and how you see it, you go straight to the worst case scenario. Straight to, oh my god, I'm going to get fired. Oh shit, this is going to happen. Why? What? Huh? And then your brain just continues, and it's not a nice place because you end up going into downward spiral, as well as you're going to be in the evil circle that goes around and around and around and around. Number one, conflict. Number two, stress. So there are good stress and there are bad stress. So good stress is, feeling like you're a little bit late for work, or have to run to catch the bus, or like that sort of thing. That's kind of good stress because, it kind of happens and then you're like, ugh. And then you have bad stress, which is like, that's the one that lingers. That's the one that's like, when you've put in the conflict situation and you start to stress because of the situation you've been put in, and you're continuously on alert, constantly on flight or fight mode. Oh my god, I cannot speak today. Fight or flight. I don't understand why that was so hard. And that's when it can kind of build up and become a major issue, because it can start going on to different places in your body, which means that you can heart raise, your heart might not be able to handle it, or you're always shaking, so you're never calm, you're never centered, you're just constantly on. And that, my dear friend, is bad stress. So remember to breathe. And I know that's like the worst thing you can say to someone, but I kid you not, hand on my heart, that is the best thing that you can do. Goes let's see, number 3, caffeine. Okay, so for a lot of you, caffeine is life. I know this, been there, been one of those people. Sorry, stood on something that I wasn't supposed to. Oh Lord. Caffeine is life. You wake up, you have your coffee. But the thing is that I'm not saying that you should, I'm not saying that you're supposed to just quit caffeine, right? That's not what I'm saying. Like, me personally, just don't quit caffeine. But I will recommend at the strongest, that when you wake up and have so much anxiety in your body that you're shaking, that you don't know what to do, your brain fog, you're just like constantly on, and you're like, your shoulders are like up here, and you're like, that, my friend, is when I will actually tell you, stay away from the caffeine, please. Because the thing with caffeine is that it will make you more anxious. It will make you more stressed. It will make you more and more and more, like, of the negative aspect of everything. right? So if you know that your like heart's always on, you know, you have your knot in your stomach that just doesn't want to go away, and your like shoulders are over your head, I would switch to decaf. Definitely switch to decaf. Definitely try and stay away from the caffeine, because it will just make everything worse and you will just feel worse, and then you will be on major spiral that you don't want to be on, right? Am I right? I'm right. Okay. Where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Lack of sleep. Okay, so with anxiety or mental health, or however you will put it, the one thing, my advice, is to find out how much sleep you need. Because, again, we are so individual, and there might be that, again, Sarah needs 10 hours and Bradley needs 5 hours, right? Because we all need our needs for sleep, and our need for the sleep cycle is so different. And the thing is that if you either sleep too much or sleep too little, your anxiety is going to fluctuate. Your anxiety is going to seriously just explode and just become worse. So it's so important that you find out what time is best for you to go to sleep and what time is best for you to wake up in the morning. So for me, because I still have anxiety, I've just lessened it to that extent that it's not bothering me, right? So if you find out, and this is one of the things that's probably going to take a little bit of time, this is probably one that's going to take the longest time, because you need to find out your balance of when you need to go to sleep, when you need to wake up, because you try different hours. You try different hours going to sleep, right? Okay, it's just like, okay, if I fall asleep at 10 and I wake up at 7, I'm still tired and I have a lot of anxiety in my body, then you need more, or you maybe need less. It's such a fine line, and it's so different. It's so different, and it's so it's not complex. It's just that when you actually find your rhythm of when to go to sleep and when to wake up, eventually you can like go to sleep later but wake up a little bit later and still be fine, because you was it internal clock is balanced, and you get the hours that you need for sleeping to feel better, right? Awesome. You with me? I know that's a lot. You with me? Yeah? Cool. Awesome. Health issues. So, it's quite common that with anxiety, or if you have health issues, if you wake up one day, or if you've been to a doctor and you get some really upsetting news, that can trigger anxiety. I mean, it can trigger anxiety from someone saying that you have diabetes, do you have cancer, do you have that you need to lose weight because your joints are not doing what it's supposed to, right? It's like the health issues stuff there. And sorry, and even though that something can be fixed, not all things, but most things can be fixed, with health issues, especially like for me, it's actually being a little bit overweight. I know what to do, but and it's like trying to find the balance of, oh my gosh, I have just gotten a really bad news for my health issue, and you think, oh gosh, at least I know what it is, and your brain kind of just go, yes, okay, don't have to worry about it anymore. As well as your anxiety, like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna live? And then anxiety starts, and that is where meditation comes in, because meditation will help you to basically calm all the noise that is happening to you, and like, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, what can I control? What can I not control? And you start by doing one thing, and then, eventually you start to feel a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more at ease, and you're able to actually get through whatever that it is you've actually heard that day. Where are we now? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Work environment. Work environment and alpha omega. And here comes with the conflict. Here everything comes at once. Again, what it can really, really make you anxious. So it can explode. It can just get overwhelming out the wazoo. You don't know what to do. You're just like, whatever happened, and you're just gonna lay yourself down. My recommendation, do 1 boundary a day. So maybe your boundary is saying no to a work colleague, right? Just saying no, sorry, no explanation, no nothing, just no thank you. As well as probably calling your boss and be like, look, I think we should talk. There's a few situations if you can't do it. So there are things you can do with calming your anxiety in your work environment when your work environment is so overwhelming that you do not know what to do, right? Sorry, I'm moving because I have a pinched nerve in my back, and I have pull-ups in my back. So I was just like trying to just stand still for a small time is just bad. So I'm like swaying a little bit, just like la 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 la. So I'm dancing a little bit. At least you know. Let's see, we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. My favorite, a messy home. So if I was able to, I would have cleaned the mess that is around me right now. I would have gone down to business and just done a full makeover to everything that's happening, but I can't, unfortunately. Yes, anyway, a messy house or a messy home does actually trigger anxiety, because there's basically, it's the what you see and have around you will do something to your head. So if it's messy everywhere around you, it's messy in your head, and if it's messy in your head, your anxiety is going to overwhelmment again with anxiety, which is unfortunate. But what you can do, my dear friend, it's quite easy. So if the thought of cleaning overwhelms you, do 1 section at a time. 1 section. 1 single section. So for example, like, okay, so I have I have a major desk. I have one of those desks where you can up and down, and it's huge. It's massive. So I have a printer on here with a heck of a lot of room. Anyway, it's huge. So what you do is that you basically just start on one side of your desk. Just do that one part. Just do that one part. And when you're done, if you feel up for it, continue. Do another section. Think, okay, I'm going to do to there. I'm going to do that section. I'm going to do that section now. And eventually it's going to look awesome. But take your time. So if it takes a few hours, if it takes a few days, be kind to yourself. You're actually doing something, which is freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. So do a section. Like if you have I'm pointing here because I have my bookshelf here, right? So if you have a messy bookshelf, right, do one shelf at the time, right? Because my friend, you will get there, but it will be done properly, as well as you won't get overwhelmed of everything. Just focus. Section. Because then it's easier to keep it neat because you've used because you haven't overwhelmed yourself and just go, no, you know what, I can't find a place for this, so I give up. Instead of doing that, sorry, oh my gosh, so sorry, you end up you'll get there, right? And then you can actually just be like, you can actually pat yourself on the back. You're like, you know what? I am awesome. I actually did this today, and that is freaking amazing. I actually did this. This is all me. And you won't feel that overwhelming feeling where you're just like, oh shoot, I have so much more to do. I don't know what to do with myself. Instead of having that one constantly, just say, whoa, check me out. I'm awesome. I actually did this, right? And eventually you get to A to Z because, you haven't overwhelmed yourself, which means you haven't given up, which means that when you see the clean of that section you've done, you feel motivated, you feel inspired, you feel awesome, right? And you're not overly blah, right? You with me? Hope you're with me. Okay? Last but not least, life transitions. So life in itself can be a kick in the teeth, a happy ending, fun place to be. It can be so much. You never know what's gonna happen. You never know what's happening. You might have to move, something happens and you might have to move, or you end up moving because you're moving to be with someone, or something happens where you can't do what you used to be able to do that you love to do, right? And it's the transition of something in your life. It can be small, it can be big, it can be big, it can be small, it can be big, it can be something, right? So it doesn't matter what, but it can be something. And that can also make anxiety go like, oh my god, what the heck is happening? Right. So again, the best thing to do is meditate and be present and actually just focus on one thing. So with the life transitions, it is quite difficult to do an overall thing because everybody's so individual of what they're going through and basically needs help and guidance for different things in life. So, but my main thing is meditation, meditation, meditation. Because with the meditation, everything that's happening, everything that's making you just go, it will eventually let go. And you could be like, right, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Okay, first doing that. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to focus on that. And it's like, it makes you feel a little bit more able, and that you feel like you can cope with everything a little bit more. You with me? So, heavy today. Yes. I hope you learned something. Again, it's day 2. So, remember the contest. It says I will write it in the comment above me. So, engage in the next 21 days starting yesterday, because it was day 1. So, if you're on here live, make yourself known by doing a wave, a heart, a like, or just a wave. If you're watching the replay, do the replay, do hashtag replay. I don't know where I get that from. I've probably seen it somewhere and it's not cool anymore, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. So do hashtag replay, and then either ask your question or just type in an emoji that you've actually seen the video. Share the video, but I will put everything in. Do you have a question to how I work, or a question about if I can actually help you? Then you can send me a message and I will answer. So, having an amazing day. You're doing great. You're doing awesome, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow on day 3. See you. Have an awesome, awesome day. Enjoy the sun if you have sun where you are. Be outside. Get the D vitamin in the sun. It always makes you feel better. And stay happy. Stay, what is it? Stay calm. Or something. And I shall see you tomorrow.